Okay, so we lose contact with the boys and the gal up in space, and so the Air Force takes command of the control center. Just imagine what it would be like in here.
Yeah.
President's advisors feel that the drilling isn't working. We've lost radio contact, maybe for good. We've only got a few minutes left of guaranteed ability to remote detonate that nuke. If we don't do it now, we could lose control and we may never get it back.
If you detonate that nuke on the surface, we waste a perfectly good bomb, and we have one chance to save this planet.
So as Truman, I get correctly furious. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is my mission. I'm the person of the brains. Like, I know what's going on. I have the oversight of this mission. I know what everybody's doing. What are you doing coming in here trying to take command? And as all the engineers and scientists in the mission control, they're like focused. Like, this is for all of humanity. I'm doing my job to the best of my ability. And these soldiers come in their uniforms and their guns, and they're like, get out of your seat. You're like, what the heck? What are we doing here?
Right. And if you're a NASA person, you're like, I have the expertise to understand what we should be doing at this point in time. And
I'm the qualified person.
Right. Why aren't you asking us what to do? You're just...
And then it gets weirder, because the reason the general's in here is says we've lost communications with the team up in space, so we have a narrow window in which we can remote detonate the bomb. But why? Why would you want to remote detonate the bomb at all? Like they already had a plan that you need to have this like closed fist firecracker thing to explode.
Yep.
And if you have if you have an open hand, or I guess you have a closed hand but the firecracker's on the outside, it's not going to do what you need it to do. So why do you have this plan at all?
In fact, the general asked that question in the NASA meeting at the beginning of the movie, and it was shot down for being infeasible.
That's right.
So if the backup plan is to detonate the nuke on the surface, and we know it's not going to work, that's a bad plan.
Oh, I'm going even deeper than that. It's why do you need to remote detonate the bomb at all? What are the scenarios? So one scenario is the shuttles land on the surface, but all the people die. They're not there. They can't push a button. Okay, we need to remote detonate it.
Okay.
What other scenarios what other scenarios do you need to be able to remote detonate this thing?
Well, what is the scenario here? It is that NASA is deciding to continue with the drilling when the Air Force feels it's infeasible. So the Air Force comes in and wants to override NASA's eggheads with a remote detonation.
But you got Sharp. You got the lieutenant, captain. You got the military guy.
Yeah.
You got Sharp up there, and you just tell him to do it, and he's like, "All right, I'm on the mission. I understand the weight of this. I'm going to do the mission." So you're taking the ability for even Sharp, who's a part of the Air Force. You're taking the ability for Sharp to detonate the nuke. You're taking it out of his hands too.
That's true. In fact, would everybody on board be willing to sacrifice themselves to try to save Earth? I think they would.
I mean, they're on the mission to save everyone on Earth. They've already committed to it. And
they're willing to die to do it. So why wouldn't you communicate these contingencies to them? If they see it's like, hey, this is the only option we have left, and I got to die to do it, like, I'm hitting that button.
And absolutely. And I still don't understand why you need to be able to remote detonate it, because they have this zero barrier where they're like, even if the bomb is under the surface, not on the surface, or we need to blow up now, because even if you try to dig for another hour, it's going to be too late. Why don't you just set a timer? You know when the zero barrier is coming. Set a timer. You tell the crew up there, you're like, here's the timer. You can see it going down. Get the bomb in there by then.
So I like the scenario where the both craft crash land, all the crew is dead or unconscious or incapacitated, so they want to remote detonate. And I guess you want to remote detonate as early as possible.
That's true. Because then if you're going to do a little deflection, it's better to do that early on, so that way you have just a longer distance for that secant to occur. Yep, sure.
But if you put a timer on, you could say detonated at zero barrier. Maybe it's a nice option. It depends. If it was easy to remote detonate, to put let's put that piece of equipment on the nuke, easy to do. The satellite's already up there for that signal relay. Let's put that option on there just in case. Would you do it?
That's true. Okay,
yeah.
So. I mean, if it costs a little bit of extra weight and is within the fuel tolerance, like contingencies, do it.
So I think if it's difficult to do, and you don't have a lot of time to do it, then the contingency is now talk to the crew and get them on board with all the contingencies as best as you can, plus a timer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you got a point. I didn't like it. You got a point.
But okay. But would you put the remote detonation device on the nuke even if you couldn't think of a scenario right then and there? Like, I can't think of a scenario where we might need this, but we could put it on there. Should we?
I mean, you've convinced me that if it's cheap enough and easy enough, put it on everything you own, right? Just do it. You never know when you might need it. Just anything. Put it on my bicycle, put it on my car.
I got a transmitter on my shirt right now.
That's right.
The surface temperature of my skin is 87.7.
Oh, you meant it's just like a generic transmitter. I thought you meant like you rigged it to explode.
Oh my gosh. I have those too.
Yeah, that's right. I put that on my pants after I eat some Taco Bell. Let's go to the next one. What are we doing?
Okay.